God made me desire Him. A cold dread used to settle in my gut every time I knelt to pray. It wasn't because I doubted God's goodness, but because I doubted my own. I would recite my needs, ask for spiritual growth, and pray for things I knew were right to pray for. But in the quiet moments after, a nagging emptiness remained. My prayers felt like a performance, a list I was checking off, and I suspected God felt it, too. My heart wasn't fully in it. I read the verses about prayer and desire, but they felt like a foreign language. You can pray for anything, and if you believe that you've received it, it will be yours. Mark 11 verse 24, I wanted to believe, but my desires felt so fractured. 1 minute, I was asking for a deeper relationship with God, the next, I was consumed by the desire for a bigger paycheck or the approval of others. My heart was a marketplace of competing interests, with God's desires often getting the cheapest stalls. I was praying for spiritual blessings while secretly hoping for worldly ones, and the truth of it was a bitter pill to swallow. I realized that my half-hearted prayers were a symptom of a divided heart. Then, I came across the message, receive the grace to have a wholehearted desire for God and His blessings. It was a simple sentence, but it hit me like a revelation. The problem wasn't my ability to pray, but my desire to. I couldn't just will myself to want God more. I needed a grace to want Him more than anything else. It wasn't about trying harder, it was about surrendering my divided heart and receiving a new one. And so, I prayed a different prayer. I stopped asking for the things on my list and started asking for the grace to want them wholeheartedly. I asked God to fill the empty stalls in my heart, to replace my longing for worldly comfort with an all-consuming desire for Him. I prayed, God, keep my heart from being divided between your desires for me and my own personal longings. Something shifted. It wasn't a thunderclap or a blinding light. It was a gentle, quiet settling. The cold dread began to thaw. My prayers started to feel less like a transaction and more like a conversation with a loving Father. I began to meditate on the blessings I was asking for, not just as things I should have, but as beautiful gifts from a good God. I began to truly desire them. And as my desire grew, my faith in receiving them was no longer an act of mental gymnastics. It was a natural consequence of a whole heart finally aligning with God's will. The promise in Mark 11 verse 24 was no longer a puzzle to be solved, but a truth I was living. I finally understood what it meant to pray and believe it meant my heart was finally in it, all of it.